Okay.
To spend 6 weeks.
All right. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We have a special guest, Nina. We will get to Nina later. First, we thought it would be good to do a little introduction round. So this webinar comes from DNS. We are a teacher training college and very passionate about everything pedagogy, teaching, learning, politics, the world. We like it. This is why we are bringing these webinars to you guys to kind of start a discussion. And we're very happy to see that there are also a few of our students. We have Julia, we have Marilise. So that is nice. My name is Sarah. I work in the communications and admission team. And today I will be hosting this webinar. If you have any questions, you can always send me a message, an email. You can use the chat. And then one more thing, this webinar is being live streamed to YouTube. If you don't like having your face on a live stream, you are welcome to turn off your camera. But if that is fine with you, then we will proceed. So we're gonna do a little round, and I think it's nice if everybody introduces themselves. What is your name? Where are you from? And the question of today is, what do you like to do together with other people? And then later, Nina will explain why this is relevant to the webinar. Okay, I will start. Good idea. I forgot myself. I am Sarah. I am from the Netherlands, and I like to play volleyball together with other people. And Eric, what about you?
My name is Eric. I am from Brazil, and I am live in Brazil, Amazon region, and I love this karate, Krav Maga, martial arts.
Nice, cool, thank you. What about you, Julia?
I'm Julia from Italy. I like to cook with other people, make food.
Nice, thank you. And Nathan.
Hello, I am from Poland. I'm Nathan, and I like to talk with other people about life. What is life, for example?
Wow, cool, welcome.
Thank you.
And Mikolas.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great. I'm Mikesh. I'm from Czech Republic, and with other people, the same. I like to talk and mostly listen to the life experiences.
Nice, cool, welcome. David?
Hi, my name is David. I'm from Spain, Barcelona. And I realized a new thing I like to do with people is a bonfire. And then you have these kind of pans where you can do crepes on it. It's amazing. Then you are just chilling with your friends while having crepes with either jam or chocolate as you wish. And it becomes a moment that I will remember the rest of my life.
That is amazing. Thank you. And Marilise?
Hi, I'm Marilise. I'm DNS 22 student, second year, and I'm from Estonia. Very nice to meet you guys.
And Marilise, what is it that you like to do together with other people?
I think I like to drink tea with people.
Nice. Me too. Cheers, Nathan. And Nina, I give the word to you, today's guest speaker.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so as Sarah is saying, my name is Nina. I am a DNS graduate. I graduated just under 2 months ago from the DNS program. And now I'm working with Sarah actually in the communications and admissions team here. That's a mouthful.
Yes.
Yeah. Originally, I come from Wales in the UK. And yes, I care a lot about pedagogy and alternative methods of teaching. And I came to the college not wanting to be a teacher, and I've left realizing that I am one, whether I like it or not. And a lot of this comes down to what I will talk about today. But first of all, I will share what I like doing with other people. So what I like to do with other people is I like to go on walks with people. Yeah. That's what I like to do.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
nice.
into the
Yes.
yeah.
All right. I'll pop up the presentation.
Ideal.
1 second.
Technology.
There we go.
Perfect.
Can everybody see the screen?
It says the common third. It's if you can't see it, then David, please don't crash. So today we're going to talk about the common third, which is I'm not sure if any of you are aware of what it is, but hopefully after today we will have a better understanding of what it is, and also some examples of how to implement it, and we can have a discussion at the end. And so the common third is a key aspect of social pedagogy. Can we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like this.
Like this. Okay. So social pedagogy is an element within teaching that describes a holistic and relationship-centered way of working, both in care and education settings with people throughout their lives. So this means it isn't just something that we introduce into education, but can happen as youth workers and in care homes, and we can implement it in terms of social pedagogy as a whole, from kindergarten all the way up to elderly people in old people's homes. But today we're going to talk more about it in education and with children and young people. But basically, social pedagogy looks at the social aspects of people's lives. And so this is where this holistic and relationship-centered approach really comes into play. Social pedagogy really looks at how society thinks of children and how they react to the needs and the wishes of children within education or within care settings. And yeah, as I've mentioned a couple of times now, it is relationship centered. So this is based on the relationship between the practitioner and the student. So in social pedagogy, we look at a values-led approach, which really tries to integrate how and looks at how your relationship is with the person that you're working alongside. And so whether this be a student of whatever age we're talking about. Social pedagogy looks at holistically supporting people's well-being, learning, and social inclusion. So it's not just about academic achievements, but it's looking more generally at how we develop as human beings, and how through education and through care and through working with people, we're able to support them as a whole person as they develop through their lives. Three things that are very essential within social pedagogy are happiness, empowerment, and relationships. And these are things that unfortunately are not at the forefront of standard education, where the happiness of the individuals isn't one of the key outcomes and the key goals in a more productivity-driven education system that is looking at the output and the academic achievement at the end. Social pedagogy is developed differently in all the different countries that it is present in, because every different country has a different social setting and a different society through which the pedagogy is being implemented. And also this means that there are different levels of need within the communities and within the countries. A lot of the countries in this part of Europe where we are right now, where I am sitting in Denmark, implement a social pedagogy into the way that they set up their support systems of people in general. And so there is a focus on the social aspect overall in a lot of Sweden, Norway, and Finland and Denmark in particular, that have moved a lot in this direction. So yeah, social pedagogy, it's very creative, very dynamic, and it's orientated on the process of learning rather than the outcomes. And so it's not mechanical and it's not automated, and it doesn't always go the same way every time you meet an individual. And it's all about bringing individuals together as their whole human beings. And so where it creates conditions for each person to grow, to move and become independent in an integrated system. And so one thing that's very important within social pedagogy is that we need to remember it's not what you do. So it's not the lessons that you bring, but it's how you do it. And the approach is like very important and very crucial within social pedagogy. And one of the key approaches is the common third that we will talk about in just a moment. And the role of the pedagogue. So the pedagogue and the teacher is a term that I was unfamiliar with when I first got into my education here at DNS and through studying here, because the pedagogue isn't a position or a term that is used in my home country in the UK, but it is one that here in Denmark that is used a lot. And so the role of the pedagogue is crucial within social pedagogy, naturally. And it's important that the pedagogue is a whole person, not just a pair of hands that are supporting the education process, but they must bring themselves as whole beings into the kind of way that they're working. I think we can go on to the common third. Perfect. After I've finished this small presentation about the common third, we will have an opportunity for questions and answers, and there'll be some questions for you to reflect on as well into your own practice. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay, so the common third. That's what we have gathered here today to really talk about. And essentially, it's a very simple concept. And I was talking to Sarah about it just before and presenting briefly what I was going to be talking about. And she said, you just presented this whole webinar in 1 minute. What are you going to talk about? Because basically the concept of the common third can be put down very simply, and it's quite easy to understand. And when I first discovered what the common third was, it gave a title to a practice that I had already been implementing within my teaching practice. So essentially, the common third is about using an activity to strengthen the bond between the social pedagogue or teacher and the child to develop new skills. So it's about this activity that we create in order to strengthen a relationship or an agreement between the teacher or social pedagogue and the student or child. And in this sense, yeah, we're using social pedagogue and child, but the terms are can be interchangeable. So the idea of the common third was created and put a name to by a Danish philosopher and educator called Michael Husen. And he is the one who, really put it down and discussed how important it was within social pedagogy in order to create this activity and create this third element to the relationship between the teacher and the student. On the screen, we have these 4 bubbles, which are gonna be what I will talk around a little bit, but they are 3 key elements that are really coming into this common third. So one is power, another one is relationships, and the third one is focus. And then in practice will be some examples. So I'm going to talk about power. And so this is, and what I'm talking about when I talk about power is like a power relationship. And so we're talking about a hierarchical system that has been flattened by the implementation of the common third methodology. So in standard education, we often have this very strong balance between a student who is coming to learn and a teacher who's the one with all of the information to pass on to the students. And so the relationship is quite one-sided, when the student will come to the teacher, please teacher, give me knowledge.
I give you knowledge.
Thank you so much. I will take this knowledge and I will be a wonderful person and I will give it back to you and you will give me a tick because I'm telling you the same knowledge back to you. Okay. So this is like a very,
good job.
Thank you so much. So this balance, the power is not balanced between the 2 of us because Sarah is the one with the information that I want to take from her. But in the common third, this balance gets brought down a bit, and there is not an imbalance of power, but rather a human connection on a human level. The common third looks at creating activities that both parties are interested in engaging with. And so Sarah, as the teacher, you're going to be my teacher. I'm going to have a teacher Sarah for this presentation. So the teacher Sarah doesn't decide on what activity we do together on the common third activity, but rather together we have the power together in order to find out what common activity we both would benefit from. And so it's very important within this that we find an activity that we could both benefit from as individuals, not just as professionals or academically. And so it's also very relevant to find a topic that you can both have a shared potential for learning and growth within. This is important because as a student, you see that there is a reciprocal possibility for development and for learning with the person that you're together with. So this is the power balance that comes down, and it's a collaborative position that we create together. Yes. Okay. So within teaching and within social pedagogy and social teaching, there is a very big emphasis put on the relationship between the teacher and the student. And we, within social pedagogy, we talk a lot about how learning cannot be a step that a student takes until they are comfortable within the situation where they are learning. And so they're not able to learn until they are comfortable to learn with the person that they are learning. And this is especially true of students who are at a disadvantage, either academically or with a diagnosis, or who are living in more challenging situations where they have become disillusioned with the education system and let down by this. And unfortunately, this is too often the case with students. Like, there's a lot of students nowadays that struggle to access education because of all the experiences that they have had. And so coming into forming a relationship first before you take the step into learning is very important for these students. And this is where the social aspect of pedagogy comes into play. Before together we can take a trip on the academic journey, we have to form a relationship together so that we are able to support one another in order to learn. And so relationships within the common third are very, very important. And it's about doing things together with the student or teacher rather than to them. So here, if Sarah is my student, I will do an activity with you. I will not do it to you. I will not do it because in the common third, yeah? So like if we go for a walk, we go for a walk together. I don't say you must go for a walk, so I will do it because you need to do it. But together we do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this helps us to form a stronger relationship. And this is, in my experience, especially like relevant because the student, they see that you actively want to be there. When we found this activity together, and we have found an activity that we both choose to participate in, the student and teacher are both deciding to be there together and go on the journey. And so the student doesn't have this feeling that they are wasting your time or taking your space, or that you don't enjoy being in their presence because you have decided together that you're going to do these things. And so this shows as a teacher that you have a level of care, that you're being honest, and the student then can feel seen and more relaxed within the learning situation. And so this is very important, and it's something that I was practicing within the pedagogy in my teaching practice during the DNS program. And so together I was working one-on-one with a student who really didn't respond well to many other teachers. And so for some reason, we kind of saw each other and we were like, okay, we both like dogs, maybe we can go for a walk with the dogs. Like, I want to do it, she wants to do it. Okay, let's go for a walk with the dogs. To begin with, for the first week, we didn't really speak to one another. We just went for a walk. Like, we looked at each other like, yeah, okay, should we go for a walk with the dogs? Cool, we go with the dogs. At the end of the week, she started to speak to the dogs, you know, like giving them some attention. And so I would react to this and also to the dogs, you know, giving them attention. So the two of us were focusing in on the dogs. And in this, the two of us formed a relationship together with these animals. Yeah. I will come back to animals in a little bit, but this is just an example that I wanted to bring that I will keep coming back to because it's a very strong example that I implemented over quite a few months of this common third element. So we have a relationship that we're thinking about. It's social pedagogy. We're trying to form a relationship with the students in order to, in the future, go towards academia and maybe develop them as individuals, whatever is necessary for the student that we're working with at the time. But what's very important is intention. So within this, an intention to deepen the relationship with the student is very important, because if the intention is not there, then you are just going for a walk with another person. Which is great, you know, it's a fabulous thing to go for a walk with people. You get to do some exercise, you get out there. But if you, as a teacher, intend to deepen a relationship with your student, and if they, in turn, open up and allow this to go forwards, then this is where the common third can really come into play and really work to form this relationship and move both parties together. And it doesn't need to be an agreement where you sit down with a student and say, we're going to go for a walk so we can form a greater, stronger relationship together, because that also is not very natural in human relationships. Balance. Oh no, the focus. Why does it say balance? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, my notes. Okay, in this relationship, it's very important that we have balance. That's where balance comes in. The activity that is done can neither be a project for the teacher, nor an activity to please the student, but it must have the interest of both parties that we talked about before. It must be a common thing, the common third. So this common is very important in this, that when you have something in common that you share and that is going forward, to create this third element within the relationship, within the educational relationship that you are forming. And so it's outside of each individual. It's not that you see a student that has an interest in something and you ask them a question about it, but you need to kind of form an activity, form a whole other situation that is this third element together. And yeah, it's important to be able to learn together and to really be with the person that we are supporting. This being said, the common third can actually be a topic that the teacher is more knowledgeable about, or a topic that the student is more knowledgeable about and more interested in. As long as both parties together have a common interest in the activity or discussion or element of whatever it is. I feel like I'm going in circles. Please stop me if I go in circles, Sarah.
Okay.
Okay. So a lot of the whole point of the common third and the relationship element of it is in the significance of developing authentic relationships. So in order to form an authentic relationship, you need to be authentic, and the students need to realize that you're being authentic. And in my experience, and it's challenging, but students can be, and I mean, we know it of ourselves, we can be super aware when somebody is being fake while talking to us. And there's nothing worse than a teacher who's standing at the front of a class demanding something from you, and they are being completely fake, and they are asking you to bring yourself as an individual honestly and like personally, when they are holding back and they are not bringing themselves. And so students are able to feel this, you know, they are human beings. We are able to see this. We are human beings that can experience this kind of, you can tell when somebody is not being authentic with you. Okay. Okay, next is the focus. And I think this, to me, is one of the most interesting elements. Because the focus is very important. It's the third element. And there is, I'm doing this a lot, but there is a picture of a triangle later in the presentation, and that's what I'm pointing to. So in the common third, the interaction is not directly between the two subjects. So it's not me looking at Sarah in her eye, and we are forming a relationship, we're getting stronger, we are bonding. Yes, I hope you can all see us bonding here. But instead, it is this third element that we together are focusing on. And it doesn't matter if it's an activity or a discussion, or there were many other examples, a project or a physical object or a dog or an animal, but this third thing that we are focusing our attention onto. And through my teaching practice and through these elements, I was taught a lot by the teacher, and I noticed a lot on reflection, the way that if you take the focus directly off the student, it takes a lot of pressure off the student. And so together, you are able to get a sense of this common third, this third element, and the student can relax because it's not as if we are observing them in like a scientific way with we're analyzing what they're doing. There is not that pressure onto the student. Third originating. Yeah. And what's very important is it doesn't matter what this third object is. It isn't, that's not the point. The point isn't the object itself, but it's what it does for each individual student and each individual teacher. It's the process of which you interact with this element rather than the element itself. And so there are many different examples of what common thirds could be. And yeah, we will go into that in a moment. So an example that I think maybe most of us will be able to relate to a bit is, have you ever driven along in a car at nighttime and you're driving along on a road and there is somebody next to you and then you start to have a chat and then it becomes very deep and very philosophical and you're talking about the wonders of the world and you're talking about yeah, you're getting so deep and then you get out of the car and you're like, wow, that was a deep conversation. Or you're lying in bed at a sleepover with just one other person and you're like staring up at the sky and you have these deep, deep conversations that just kind of come out of nowhere. And so this often comes from the fact that you have something else that you have together. And so this is where I want to come back to walking, because it's something that I like doing with other people, and it's something that I did a lot in order to connect with the student that I was working with in my practice. That's why I said in practice. So as I said just before, we were both interested in walking with these dogs, and we were both going for walks, and after a few days she was talking to the dogs and I was talking to the dogs, and then the week later we would talk to each other about the dogs, like, oh, look at them, aren't they cute? They're going to go over there, this is what the dog is doing, do you think the dog is happy, do you think the dog is sad? We were able to talk in this way.
I'll fix it, you just
Yeah.
go.
And so through this, the student, she didn't need to share, I wasn't asking her how her day was, but maybe she would come around to it through a process of talking about the dogs, and we would, this is so distracting.
Sorry.
So it's a topic for conversation.
Ad break. I don't know. Give me 1 second. I tried to do an update.
We don't need it, it's fine.
We don't need it?
No, we will live without it.
We just got it.
Okay, we need it.
Back to meeting. Hi guys.
We are real teachers who don't know how to use technology. I think it's like a prerequisite of being a teacher is that you don't know how to use technology. And like, when I was young, I was like, teachers are so uncool, like whatever. But as soon as you become a teacher, technology is like outdated. So I don't know, YouTube's no longer the height of sophistication, being able to make it full screen. Anyway, we're back from our interlude as teacher training. You got this, Sarah. Okay, animals, amazing. Express feelings about animals. Yeah, so we can express our feelings about animals. Much easier to do that than to answer challenging or personal questions to a person that you don't really know that well. But through my experience, this is what we're going through now, is after about a month of interacting with a student in this way, she began to open up a little bit more. And each day she would open up a little bit more and a little bit more. And she was able to share about her animals at home. And then that was the first time she started to talk about her home life. And then she would open up more and more, and she would begin to share with me. And we were walking side by side or next to each other with the dogs in front of us. And so as soon as a discussion came up that she didn't want to answer, she would switch back to talking about the dogs. And this was totally fine. And it gave her the permission to say, I'm not going to go into this topic right now. I'm not comfortable, but we need to talk about the dogs. Like, the dogs are doing nothing, they're walking along, but all of a sudden there is this element that she is able to use as like a safety feature in order to process what it is that we are doing in this relationship we're forming together. Yeah. In the school that I was working, it is one of the main pedagogies that is being implemented. So it's a school here in Denmark the common third is one of the key pedagogies that is being implemented in the school, where animals are one of the big common thirds that is being used, but also building projects and study travels and like other small, like bigger projects like study travels, and smaller projects like reading a book are being implemented as common thirds in order to form greater connection and greater communication between students and between teachers. And this school that I was working at has a very, very open definition of what the common third can be. And so maybe you came here today hoping to understand exactly what the common third is. And I hope this is giving a bit of an idea of what it could be. But actually, the common third could be a topic of conversation. And we had a few people before who were saying that what they like to do with other people is have discussions. And this is a great way of really getting to know people better and getting closer to people. And it can be a common third. A common third could also be an activity that you do together. Sarah, she said she really likes playing volleyball.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go into playing volleyball with the intention to get closer to people, then absolutely it could be a common third. If you go to play volleyball,
Yes.
yeah, then maybe not. But as a teacher, you could implement and you could really get closer to your students in this way. A project is also another really good example of a common third, because it's something that you work on together, and as long as it is a cooperative project that all parties have a say in the planning, the execution, and the conclusion of the project, it becomes a common third project. And the common third could also be a physical object. So here we bring back the dogs, and it's a great example of an object. I'm going to finish soon, and we're going to go to some questions because I told you I would talk too much.
I'm
Okay.
entertained this.
Okay, so practitioners of the common third. Oh, what's the next thing? Here, let's have another thing to look at.
Wow, a diagram.
It's a triangle that's looking at youth practitioner, young person, and shared achievement. But this is an achievement, like this is a project or something that they're working towards in order to achieve together. And this is the relationship that is being formed between the two elements. So the practitioners, in order to implement a common third social pedagogy, it's important that you are authentic. I think I've said this a few times, and maybe you're, aware that this is a key element. You need to be self-reflective. You need to see what you are doing yourself, and you need to work on it. And you need to bring your own personality. I mentioned a couple of times that as students, we are able to see when people are being dishonest with us. And I think that in order to kind of overcome this within the common third and really improve relationships, you can't improve relationships by working on lies. You need to bring your own personality and share your own interests and passions with the students that you're working with. Yes. So the common third is a social pedagogy. We've established this through this course today. And what it does is it develops a positive foundation from which further development and further progress can be built upon, whether it be academic or whether it be personal growth of the individual. This positive foundation really creates the environment and the possibility for the student and the teacher to work together and to move together and achieve the things that they need to achieve together. And so this is the social pedagogy aspect that can then go on to being useful in other teaching situations. And yes, the common third is a great way of building this relationship together, in my opinion, and in my experience implementing it in a small school, especially working one-on-one with a student. Yes. The next thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to bring a bit of a discussion. And so we have this one question, which is, do you have any examples of a common thread that you have experienced, and how did it impact the learning process? And I wanted to bring this either as you as a student or for you as a teacher or practitioner. And I think the floor is open. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, you can just shout. You can also use like the buttons to raise your hand. Is anybody brave enough to start? Marilys.
Hi. Yeah, I would bring example as a student and maybe as a teacher or pedagogue. As a student, I think like being in DNS and doing the program together with your teammates, it's like big common thread already, because we are connected through the program. And in the beginning of the year, we don't know each other, we are strangers, but because we have these common activities like preparing a travel together or now moving to European city, it's something that unites us and makes the process more exciting and bonds us. And as a pedagogue, I had a very cool example with a boy who don't want to learn in school. He's like 12 years old, super active, and every time you tell him to do math, he starts throwing stuff around. But then we found out that he likes trains, so we started going to train stations together and to look trains. And after that, we made a deal that he will study a math or Danish a little bit, and it was good balance. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Marilys.
That's so cute. Well, it's like you do your homework and then we go to a train station. Nice. Nathan.
Yes, so I am a massage therapist. So when I am doing a massage and someone comes to me, the intention is to have a better life or like health, life. And on that moment is that common fears like you was talking about, like we come here to improve our health. So yeah, I think that could be an example for that.
That's a great example of like a way of you connecting with other people.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the intention. When I am doing a massage, the intention is like more important than the mechanic massage, like for 1 hour. 10 minutes could be better if the intention is the best.
That is cool. That makes sense, actually. Nice. Julia. Julia?
David.
Oh, David.
Gotcha. The common thread I was thinking about, now I'm also in a care home, probably the same as Nina was before. And one activity that we do every morning is going for a walk in the forest. I am working with kids that have a lot of energy, and that helps them first to release some of that energy while we are interacting with the forest. There is maybe a mountain that we see, we climb it together, and then we have to help each other not to fall. And there are these kind of moments where we have this opportunity to get closer. And the other one, in the same direction, is the swimming pool. I realized that playing in the swimming pool together with the kids is something that they have the space to be creative and create a new game, maybe from scratch. And then you can join their game. So there is this common thread that is the game that helps to get to know your students better in as Nina was mentioning before, with no pressure behind it.
Nice. Wow, so many benefits of the swimming pool.
Mm-hmm. With intention.
Yes, that intention is actually something that I really liked, because like doing activities together is quite a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I also work a lot with youth, and now it makes sense that if you put an intention behind this, it becomes a lot more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And more of a teaching action.
Yeah, I think what's also important to bring into teaching in this area is if there's an intention within education for human development and for the development of the student, then it's integrated into the education itself and the approach. Not as an afterthought. It's not like, oh, it's great that they are also developing as people by the side. If it's part of what you are trying to achieve through the education, then it becomes very important into the way that, and it comes into every element of what you do. Okay.
Yeah. So we have more questions.
We have more questions. No worries. Okay. So this one's got lots of words in it, but basically it says, can you think of challenges or barriers that might arise when implementing the common third in education practice, and how can they be addressed? But we can also just look at what challenges do you think the common third might have in education? Or maybe it's got no challenges. It's the best approach ever.
I see a hand.
I think it's David.
Yeah, this time I didn't got you. Very fast, one that comes to me is having difficulty in finding something common between all the students that you have, or between a certain student. So that was the first challenge that came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing during the speech. I was like, but what if you cannot find something? But I like, sometimes I meet students and they tell me like, oh, I'm super into anime. And these are also the students that are, generally speaking, have less friends, and then it's more difficult for them to come to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh yeah, anime, that's so cool. Can you tell me about it? But I don't care about anime at all. So it never really works. But like, yeah, what if you cannot find anything?
Yeah, I think that this is an important and good example, and you shouldn't compromise and pretend that you're interested in it just to form a relationship with the student, but together to find something. And it is a challenge to find something that maybe you're both interested in doing, but I think if you're open enough and curious enough, a lot of topics can be of interest for you to learn about. And so then you could use this opportunity that your student is more knowledgeable than you and find something within that sphere that you are interested in and that you can do together. Whether it be, if it's anime and they are like to draw, maybe you also like to draw, or you like to color, and you can do this activity together that is using what they are expressed and interested in and bringing it on another side. But I also think that it is a big challenge, and I agree. How do you find a common activity with somebody that maybe you don't think that you share very much with? Should we go to the last question?
Wait, I have another challenge.
You have another one. Okay.
I don't have solutions, but I have challenges.
Perfect.
Implementing it in educational practice is very time consuming. If you work with 1 or 2 students, it's a lot different than working with more than 20 students. It's quite a challenge, no?
Sure. Would you like me to give you a solution? Or
yes.
Or does somebody else have a solution?
I have an example.
Okay.
I was quite surprised and impressed. Like in the swimming pool, there was this. The kids had something in common that we all like. That was ice cream and sodas. But they would not swim by themselves a pool of 50 meters. Yeah. So then there was an agreement that they made with a teacher of, if I beat my own record from the last week, imagine that the last week they swim 1 swimming pool, so now they need to swim 2 in order to get that ice cream or that soda, whatever it was. Then they all would have to work on themselves while doing something together that was swimming in the same swimming pool, and they will support each other in order to beat their own records. So you would see children who were swimming like 2 kilometers and others who were just swimming 200, but all of them were cheering to each other in order for all of them to get their ice cream or their soda. And I was very impressed because then I realized that sometimes how you put the challenges can make this common thirst accessible to everybody. And here also comes the figure of reward. I don't know if you think, guys, this kind of was an example of a solution for what Sarah shared.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, David, that where is the teacher within this situation? Because the common third is also this relationship that is being formed between the student and the teacher. And so I completely get your example, and I think that it is a great example of the students working together in this way and the comradeship of the students. But I think that when it comes to this common third aspect, it is often built between a teacher and a single student, and to form a relationship together. And this I definitely see as the challenge that you're bringing here. And it is a challenge within education, but within social pedagogy, the point is to work on these individuals in order to get them up to a case where they're able to access other forms of education. And so it isn't a methodology that is to be implemented on large scales. And I think that this is the importance of a variety of education within our education systems, because one solution does not fit all students and does not fit all situations. And so this is an important part, as I see it, or it could be an important part of an education kind of program that has many different aspects and many different elements. And so it is a challenge, but I think that other educational approaches would cover this challenge.
Yes, that makes sense. Cool.
Can I ask or like add a little bit to that?
Please.
So what came to my mind was my experience, like the solution, like what I could see before you said that you defined the common third as the relation between like two people. I thought of this, my experience with kids when they were playing a game, like a game that is like more people, like a sport, like playing football or playing something in a forest, like catching each other or something like that. And I always played with them because I'm also like very playful. It's something that is interesting for me authentically. It's not like I want to, you know, make them happy that I'm with them, but it's like I really enjoy that time spent together. You know, shouting at each other, hey, you know, this, we need to run there, and this and this, and there's I can see there that it helps build the bond. There's this aspect of the human connection, this like equality, this like at this point we are just like teammates. We are playing some game together with this in this playful mood, and so this sounds like, for me, it feels like very similar to what you were describing with the common third. Yeah.
I think absolutely, you've got it completely there. And when I was saying the relationship between the teacher and student, yeah, I was generalizing, and I think that you have a very good example in a group setting there. Completely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid and the teachers would join football on like playing outside time. It was the best. And like you feel so connected with the teacher. So yeah, fully agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should round it up.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Okay, finishing words, Nina?
Oh my gosh. Technology is challenging. No, I think that I don't have closing words as such. I think that the idea of the common third for me was very interesting in my educational journey, and I hope that you also learn a bit about what it is, and maybe now you can put the pedagogical phrase to something that you have been doing before, like you were just mentioning with this game with all of the young people. Now you have an educational theory that goes with this element, and I think that's also what I realized when I learned about the common third. It is something that I had been practicing and doing automatically, but then when you learn a bit about the like science behind it and the theories and scientific like theory behind like pedagogical scientific theories behind it, I think it helps to reaffirm and encourages you to continue doing what you are doing.
Nice. Okay. Any questions before we go? No. In that case, thank you all very much for being here. I had a lot of fun, had a good time, and I feel like I learned something. So this was the last webinar of the webinar October, but in December we will be back with more webinars about politics this time. Ooh. So stay tuned, and I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, if you want to know more about DNS, you can reply to all the emails you have been getting. Okay, goodbye, and thank you, Nina.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.